All right, welcome to the special edition of On the Mic podcast, RedCrest style. I'm your host, Norman Lee, and joining me today is my wife, Tanya. She's sitting in. But anyway, we have one heck of a show lined up for today. But first, we have to talk about a couple of the sponsors that actually makes this all happen. First, let's talk about Floatzilla. Floatzilla is a soft plastic add-on that makes your baits come to life. Groundbreaking attachments for a wide variety of soft plastic lures. Floatzilla product seamlessly blends into your soft plastic lures, increasing your bait's performance in a game-changing way. It's a more lifelike appearance. Floatzilla is pro-tested and angler-approved. Check them out at shopfloatzilla.com. Once again, that is shopfloatzilla.com. And Shore Life Fish Care products. Since 1982, Shore Life has been the staple of fish care for tournament anglers, tournament directors, and aquarium enthusiasts. An all-natural chemical designed to improve fish mortality and calm your catch with over 30 fish care products. For more information, make sure to check them out at shore-life.com. Once again, that is www.shore-life.com. I tell you what, babe, we have a lot of storylines going into this RedCrest right now. You know, all of our anglers is on the water, and we had a major condition change last night from what the anglers experienced yesterday. But you know, we have quite a few storylines, and let's just go over briefly some of the storylines that we're looking at today. You know, our day one leader, Drew Gill. He has already won on the Bass Pro Tour once this year, and he has won a Tackle Warehouse Series event as well. So his momentum from those two events, he is one of the hottest anglers on the Bass Pro Tour right now. His momentum from those two wins this year are going to carry over into the RedCrest for him. And how about, we can't say enough about Jacob Willer, J-Dub, going out this morning in third place. You know, Jacob has won just about everything when it comes to the world of bass fishing. He's even won a Forest Wood Cup early in his career. But there's there's one thing that's been eluding him over his entire career, and that is a major championship. When I say major championship, I'm talking about a RedCrest or a Classic. He has not won the big one yet. So is this Jacob's year? He is setting himself up for a good shot for Championship Sunday. Or how about Mark Daniels Jr.? Could he possibly win his first BP Tour event and it be the biggest one in the world? Who knows? We'll have to see. Let's see if he can make Championship Sunday. And, you know, starting out this morning, another great storyline. 10th through 16th place was separated by one scoreable bass. That's it, 10th through 16th. The cutoff to make tomorrow is 10th place. So, you know, it's going to be a tight race right down to the finish at the end of today to see who makes that Championship Sunday. How about Edwin Evers, the inaugural RedCrest champion for the first RedCrest event that we had? Won the first in, I want to say, dramatic fashion. Who all can't forget that last hour flurry that Edwin had, just fish after fish. Talked to him quite a few times since then, and one of his great memories is the penalty he got halfway through that flurry, where he actually had a chance to sit down because he was cramping. His hands was cramping. He was just catching so many fish one after the other. But anyway, you know, yesterday we had some nice weather out there the anglers had to deal with. We had a 35-degree weather temperature shift going into this morning. Anglers started this morning 45 degrees. So how are the anglers going to cope? Is it going to affect some of the anglers? You know, time will tell how they're going to adapt to the weather changes we had going into today. Did they expect this coming in when they started trying, when their practice started? Did they kind of, expect something like this and kind of think about it back then? Who knows? We will see today how that weather is affecting the anglers. They're actually out on the water now, but we're going to take a short break, a 1-minute break, so bear with us. We have to talk about one of our sponsors for this podcast here at RedCrest. So we're going to be right back momentarily after a word from our fine sponsor, and we have a BPT angler that is going to join us on the mic as soon as we return. Let's talk about a groundbreaking product that's actually changing the way we're able to present baits to fish. Why is it that a smart bass, will eat or consume an artificial bait when there's so much other live, natural forage, natural food swimming all around them? Why is it that they'll eat that artificial bait? The answer is presentation. If you're able to present that bait to the fish in a natural, lifelike fashion, there's a good chance that fish is going to eat or strike that bait just every bit as quick as he's going to eat the natural food that is swimming all around him. I want to introduce you to Floatzilla. Floatzilla is a simple and easy to use attachment that will bring your soft plastic baits to life. Presentation is the most important part of your fishing experience on the water. If you can present any, and I do mean any bait to the fish, make that bait look natural, make it look real, make it look like the natural forage, the natural fish that they're actually feeding on all around them. So I'm telling you, you got to check Floatzilla out. They make all the different natural colors as well, so you'll make your baits blend right in with the Floatzilla attachments. Guys, I'm telling you, you got to have Floatzilla in the boat. Check them out, www.shopfloatzilla.com. Once again, that's www.shopfloatzilla.com. All right, welcome back on the mic, and we're actually on the mic right now. We have a special guest joining us, a BPT pro. Fletcher Shryock is on the line. What is going on, my man? What are you up to today, Fletch?
Hey Norman, how's it going, man? Glad you have me on the show here. I appreciate the call.
Yes, sir, man. We are actually privileged to have you come aboard with us, man. But you just told me you're actually getting ready to go hit the lake today.
Yeah, I am. I haven't got to fish as much this last week or so. Been spending time with family, and this is my first time getting back out. The weather's gorgeous. I know the fish are biting, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you're going to Nickajack, man. That's one of my favorite lakes. Of course, I guide over there, but man, the smallmouth are just crazy on Nickajack. You ought to have a good time over there, man. But you're originally from Ohio, Fletch, and as a kid growing up in Ohio, you fell in love with bass fishing. But how does an Ohio kid fall in love with the sport of bass fishing? Ohio really isn't known too much for its bass fishing, is it?
No, it's pretty terrible overall. But I mean, it doesn't matter where you live. You can fall in love with bass fishing just about anywhere. I just fell in love with fishing in creeks and ponds, and just definitely didn't grow up in a tournament fishing world by any stretch. But honestly, once I started kind of getting more serious into it, I fished a lot of the local lakes and smaller lakes, and just learned a lot of the basics. But I mean, it didn't take me long where I started just jumping the Bassmaster Opens, and I started traveling pretty early on. That was really what kind of helped me learn a lot as far as fishing all the different lakes in the country. You know what I mean? I started one of the first tournaments I went to. I never fished in Florida before I signed up for a Bassmaster Open in Florida, and then obviously just went on from there, and then obviously joined Major League Fishing years later. And it's really hard to gain a lot of experience living anywhere. I don't care if you're from Florida, California, Ohio. You really have to travel to learn a lot of the nuances about all these different fisheries, if that makes sense, no matter where you're from. So
how old were you when you started fishing your first tournaments from the grassroots level? Did you join a club when you were younger, or how old were you when you actually got introduced to tournament fishing at a young level?
So I would say I was 10. We fished a handful of tournaments for a few years. Me and my dad did. He wasn't near as into it as what I was. So it was like I was always pushing him, and he would kind of sit in the back. I would run the boat and do everything, and he would just kind of sit back there and hang out. It's kind of how it went on for a few years there. And then didn't take long. I started getting into motocross racing, and we ended up fishing. Kind of took us, a backseat to motocross racing for 10 years. That's kind of how my story went. And then once I finally got hurt on a dirt bike for the last time, separated my shoulder, needed surgery, which I never got. Never got my shoulder actually fixed. But I bought a boat literally the next day after I had that crash, and with all intents of going back to racing, but I just started literally fishing tournaments like that next week with my shoulder was in a sling. And that's just kind of how it all started up there,
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think you were telling me several months ago, or actually last year, I think you were talking to me and told me this, that you had your first surgery from bass fishing because you hit a wave wrong on one of the events, on one of the big waters up north, I think you said.
Yeah, I was really, really hard on equipment years ago. Me and Mike Iaconelli were always the top two guys in the service yard at all times. And now I rarely ever see those guys. If I do, it's just to go over and say hi. Yeah. So I've learned a couple lessons along the way and beat my body up. It's all good. Yeah. I'm a lot better now.
Yeah. In 2019, you and your wife decided to make the move to Lake Guntersville, Alabama. Now, how important was that move for you, in the development of your professional bass career?
That was right whenever the Major League Fishing was really, starting to kick off with the Bass Pro Tour. Obviously, we'd done the Cups for years, and I just went down to Guntersville to do some fun fishing that fall because, the grass was up. I wanted to experience the frog bite. Never had been there that time of year. And basically, I took my RV down there and stayed there, and with no intentions of moving there. But bottom line is, I just never went back home. The last time I left my house in Ohio, I had no idea that would be my last time. I just was gone, and then I finally we pretty well lived in an RV for almost a year, over a year, which had its challenges, but I enjoyed it too, and then finally just said, hey, I'm just buying a house down here. Yeah. I'm not going back to Ohio, and I'm not living in this RV anymore. So that's kind of how it started. Actually, that was in the fall of 2018 is when all that started to happen. In 2019, late in 2019, I finally bought a house there in Guntersville, and now I actually live up by Chattanooga, so a lot of people don't know that because I'm still so close I can fish everything, but I don't actually technically live at Guntersville now. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you live probably about 8-9 minutes from me there in Cleveland, so we're pretty good there in Cleveland and that Chattanooga area because we got two great lakes. We got Chickamauga, which is worldwide known for its bass fishing, and then kind of Nickajack, which is almost like a hidden gem. Really, it doesn't get the publicity that Chickamauga gets, but it's every bit as good. And the smallmouth is just crazy there from time to time on Nickajack.
Yeah, and Watts Bar is another one too. Like I'm actually I miss Guntersville. I don't get to fish as much as I did, but I mean it's an hour and a half. If I want to be in Scottsboro, I can be at Guntersville an hour and a half. It's not that big of a deal. But the problem is, you got Watts Bar up the way, which to me is now the hidden gem. I think Nickajack's getting a ton of pressure. It's still good, but it's getting pressure now. And Chickamauga is obviously super pressure. But yeah, it's just hard to make it to Guntersville when I have such, Obviously, I think Guntersville's the best lake in the country, but it's still hard to pass the other lakes, you know what I mean, and make twice as long of a drive to go down there when we have so many good options right here.
Yeah. Now the RedCrest is on Table Rock Lake this year. Do you have any past experience on Table Rock Lake? Have you been up here before fishing?
Yeah, I've had actually quite a bit of experience there this time of year on Table Rock just over the years, actually. So it's always been pretty good to me. The anglers, I don't know if you've been following too much about what's going on the water yesterday, but I have.
The anglers have experienced a major temperature swing, last night from what they experienced yesterday. Like when they took out this one, it was like 45 degrees, which was about 30 to 35 degrees colder than what it was yesterday. What do you think, or how do you think that weather might have affected the anglers out on the water to what they're having to deal with today, and how much adjustments do you think they're going to have to make just because of the weather?
Well, I will say too, something that I've had to learn just from my travels, those Ozark lakes are very, very touch and go anyway. Like, even if you don't have an inconsistent weather change, those fish just seem to change daily at times. So when they do get slapped in the face with a cold front, it definitely messes them up. But I do feel like it opens up new windows of opportunities on those lakes too. I'm not saying there's a lot of them, but I do feel like, if the guy figures out the right adjustment to make, he can go on to still gain a lot of momentum while the other guys really stalled out doing the things they did yesterday, because they'll still bite in the right scenarios, but it's probably not going to be the same way where you were catching them the day before the front.
Yeah.
That's just kind of typical Ozark fishing, and then you throw a cold front in there. I mean, they're not like Florida bass. It's kind of hard to explain, but they just change a lot. So the guy that can keep up with those changes, and it looks like Drew Gill, as long as he can see him on that scope, I mean, it's pretty hard to beat him, obviously. So.
Yeah, Drew Gill's he's killing it out there, dude. Do you think it's going to affect the sight fishing too? I mean, weather swings like that always affect sight fishing, but how big do you think it's going to affect the sight fishermen?
Not just sight fishing, but I genuinely feel like a lot of those fish that are being caught by the guys using various techniques are spawners, whether you can see them or not. I would say, just had to guess, I would bet 70% of the bass that are being caught are spawners. I could be wrong. I'm obviously not the jighead minnow fish, maybe on bait, but a lot of guys look like they're going down the bank or scoping shallow, and I believe a lot of them fish right now especially are on the bed, and when this weather hits them, I don't think they leave the bed a lot of times, obviously, but they just they're not near as aggressive. That's usually what happens. And you might have to, maybe if you threw on that fish yesterday or you threw by that fish, it was going to swim over and grab your bait and you were going to catch it, whereas now today that fish is still around, but you're going to have to really do something to aggravate it to get it to bite. Is kind of what I think. Maybe you wound your chatterbait by it yesterday and it just pounced it, and then today it's going to let that chatterbait swim by. That's kind of the type of things that I think happens a lot of times when you have the cold front and they're spawning like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fletcher, that's some great insight, dude. Man, we're going to let you rock and roll. We really appreciate you spending a few minutes on the mic with us today, man. And, you're going to be going over to Nick and Jack here. You said you're going fishing, man. I hope you just jack on them today over there, dude. But once again, Fletcher, I appreciate you, man, joining us for a short time here on the mic.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the call, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Fletcher. Man, we'll talk soon, buddy.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. All right. There we have it. That was insight from the pro, Mr. Fletcher Shryock. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. And guys, we have another commercial break. And when we come back, give us about 1 minute for a message from one of our sponsors. When we come back, we are going to be on the mic with, well, what could you say? He is just a past RedCrest champion. Anyway, we will be right back after these messages with our next guest. As an outdoor enthusiast and a fishing guide, it's very important to me to help protect and take care of the things that take care of me. Over the past 30 years, I've been using a product called Shore Life. Now, what Shore Life is? Shore Life is a product that I could add to my live well that helps take care of my catch. So when I release them fish at the end of the day, they actually get released healthier than when they were caught. Now, the two products I personally use is the Please Release Me and Catch and Release. Now, these two products reduce stress and calms the catch. They stimulate and protect the slime coat, reduce weight loss by preventing stomach regurgitation, prevent shock, and restore their electrolyte balance. Instantly remove harmful chlorine and other toxic water treatment chemicals. They boost the oxygen transfer and protect against all other post-release infections. But guys, I am telling you, put Shore Life in your daily fishing routine and you won't be sorry. For more information on Shore Life products, make sure to contact them at www.shore-life.com. Again, that is www.shore-life.com. Guys, look forward to seeing you on the water, and get some Shore Life in your boat, and let's protect our fish for future generations to enjoy. All right, welcome back to On the Mic. We are joined, and once again, this is a special guest we have coming on, but we're just going to roll with it. We're joined by a 5-time RedCrest qualifier and get this, the 2023 RedCrest champion, Mr. Bryan Thrift. How you doing, my man? What's going on today?
I'm doing great. Actually up here working the show at RedCrest right now.
Yep. Brian, we're going to get this thing rolling. We want to talk a little bit about Lake Norman and your RedCrest championship. What is the one thing about that win that you had that kind of stands out and sticks out to you?
I think the biggest thing was just winning in front of the hometown crowd there at Lake Norman.
Yeah.
And having all my friends and family there, and just that made it so special. Just everybody coming up and we've watched you fish Lake Norman your whole career. This is awesome, and things like that. Like that was definitely probably the biggest aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like winning, especially winning a championship like that in front of your home crowd, especially in front of your family. You got everybody there, all your friends, neighbors, whatever. I mean, there must be nothing like that.
There's really not, and especially it was kind of like the culmination of all my, I don't want to call it fears, but self-doubt, because once they announced RedCrest at Lake Norman, whatever 6 or 8 months before the actual event, all my buddies are calling me, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to win that thing," and you feel like you've got everybody pulling for you, and you don't want to let them down on your home lake. So when it was finally the end of it, and I ended up being able to outpace the field, because that was a marathon event. We fished 5 days in a row, and coming out on top of that, and I feel like I didn't let everybody down, so that was like a huge relief off my shoulders as well.
Yeah. What is one of the biggest keys to your winning that event, as far as bait wise, or something you might have done on the water, a move you might have made, a decision? What was the biggest key to that win?
The biggest key to my win at Lake Norman, I think, was I had a couple of groups of fish that I could catch early on a Demiki underspin with a little 3-inch Demiki armor shad on it. And that was the whole key at Norman, is getting a big bite, getting those 4+ pounders. But to target those and already have a good limit in the live well, 10 to 13 pound limit before you start going hunting those bigger bites, that really calms you down and allows you to fish a lot freer, because you're just looking for 1 or 2 bites the rest of the day. So being able to go out there and catch a quick limit on that Demiki underspin with that armor shad, and have 6 or 7 hours the rest of the day to try to find 1 or 2 key kicker bites, to me that was the whole key part of the puzzle, was having that early decent limit and being able to fish free and clear, knowing, hey, I fish slow, I can take my time, I just need to get 1 or 2 bites the rest of the day, and that's ended up being how it worked out every day.
Yeah. Now, you're actually the first angler to win a Forest Wood Cup and win a RedCrest championship. But, the old style with the FLW was a 5 fish taken back to the weigh-in and weigh-in.
Right.
What was the most difficult part of the transaction? You being a 5 fish, tournament style professional. What was the hardest transition that you had to deal with, going, from that 5 fish limit format to the Major League Fishing format of, catch and release and weigh?
I don't think there was that big of a transition for me, because my whole career, I'd always spent my career looking for groups of fish, places and areas where you could get multiple bites. I always like to play the odds game.
Yeah.
If I was getting, the more bites I could get in a day, the better my chances of catching a big one were. And that's kind of how I fished my whole career. So there really wasn't much of a transition as far as to the 5 fish format into a, everything counts format.
Yeah. Now, do you have any personal experience on Table Rock Lake?
I fished it a couple of times back in the early 2010s with FLW. I think we had 2 events there in the March-April time frame.
Yeah. How do you think the anglers that's on the water today is coping, and how difficult is it for the anglers to have a 35-degree temperature shift from what they had yesterday? They had actually pretty nice weather yesterday. It was still windy, but they didn't have the temperature. How hard is it for the anglers to adjust for a 35-degree temperature shift, or do you think it's much of a problem at all? Do you think it's kind of the same, or is there a lot of adjustments having to be made?
I think it's pretty much the same as far as the fish go. Right. When you look at the time of the year they're here at Table Rock, we're mid-April. Look at weather patterns for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it'll be warm 4 or 5 days, be cool 4 or 5 days, and then warm back up. These fish are already up there. I don't think there's nothing weather-wise that's going to back them off of their spawning routine.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing anglers have to overcome is that they have to fight those demons in their mind telling them, hey, the temperature dropped 35 degrees, they're not going to be up there. Like, you've got to know that, hey, they're still going to be there. I'm just going to go out there and fish status quo, and things are going to be all right. And that's what we're seeing develop. The guys are still up there catching those fish in 5 feet or less, catching them on moving baits, catching them dragging. So the fish are still there, and they're still willing to bite.
Awesome, man. Bryan, we're going to let you rock and roll. We really appreciate you coming on and spending 10 minutes with us on the mic today, man. It's been a pleasure having you on, and listening to some of your insight, man. It's just insane. So thank you very much, Bryan, for coming on and being part of the show today here at RedCrest.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's a great show. Tons of people here at the Bass Pro Shops Granddaddy store. If you're in the area, by all means, come out and hang out and check out all the booths and stuff and all the equipment. I've seen stuff I've never seen before here, so it's been a fun experience.
And what booths this afternoon are you going to be at, Bryan?
I'm bouncing around between the Ranger, Bass Pro, inside the store, and the Mercury booth, and just kind of hanging out and meeting everybody and talking to everybody. And one thing I'm excited about is I've never been through the aquarium, so I plan to do that today too. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
That is insane. Me and the wife got a chance to walk through it yesterday, man, and it will blow you away if you've never gone through that
3
aquarium.
hours.
Yeah, and make sure you plan for about a 3-hour walk through
3-hour tour.
Yeah, 3-hour tour. Yeah.
That is awesome. I can't wait to do it.
So anyway, all right, guys. Bryan Thrift, man, RedCrest champion. We do appreciate it. And if you are at RedCrest at the expo today, make sure you go to the Ranger booth, or if you see Bryan out there on the floor anywhere, man, go over and talk to him and have him sign something for you, man. He is one of the legends in the sport today. So, Bryan, once again, thanks, brother. We do appreciate you coming on with us.
Oh, I really appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks. All right, guys, there you have it. Bryan Thrift, man, it don't get any better than that. That was insane. Bryan Thrift and Fletcher Shryock, 2 great fishermen, man. It was a pleasure to have both of them come share their insight with us. Baby, was there any kind of thing that you really, anything cool that you experienced so far this week here at RedCrest, as far as, it doesn't even have to be fishing related, but was there anything cool that you done that kind of just blew your mind?
Oh yeah, that museum.
Oh,
My
man.
favorite was the sea turtle, and maybe the jellyfish.
The jellyfish. I tell you what, if you're in this area, the Springfield, Missouri area, you have got to swing by the Bass Pro Shop here in Springfield. This is where it all got started, right here in Springfield. But walk through the museum.
The tank that you walk, it's all above you.
I tell you what, that museum will blow you away. There's nothing like it. I don't think there's anything like it anywhere as far as a museum and an aquarium like that. But
If
anyway.
you took your time, it'd probably take 4 hours.
Oh yeah, give
or take.
yourself at least 3 to 4 hours to
Yeah.
walk through, because it's going to take every bit of that. But anyway, guys, we're going to leave it at that. We had a great show today. Once again, thanks to Bryan Thrift and Fletcher Shryock for coming on and being a part of the show today. But we are going to leave it at that. Until next time, one more thing. You got to make sure if you're sitting at home, no matter where you are, put it on your phone. If you're out fishing, put it on your phone. Go to MajorLeagueFishing.com. Watch the live stream. You can watch the live stream for the rest of the day today, and also catch the live stream Championship Sunday, because it's going to be a barn burner tomorrow. It's going to be an epic showdown, and it's going to be interesting at the end of today to see who makes that top 10, because you can't win tomorrow if you don't make the top 10 today. So anyway, guys, make sure you watch live. That is MajorLeagueFishing.com. And let's see how this whole thing unfolds tomorrow. But anyway, guys, we appreciate it. On behalf of myself, my wife, my guest host today, Tanya, and on to Mike, we appreciate everything. We appreciate all the followers, and hopefully we will see you on the water real soon.